Ayman here for Seconds Out with top trainer Jamie Moore. Jamie, first of all, I apologise. I'm not the lovely dulcet tones of Josh Hart, but hopefully I'll do just as good as interview as Josh. How's things with you?
I'm all right, mate. How's my mate, Josh?
Yeah, Josh is doing well. He's doing well. He's finding his feet and he's flying now. So, all because of the assist from yourself as well.
Because of man, but teamwork makes the dream work.
That's exactly it. And teamwork makes the dream work for this one as well too. Regis Prograis in the opposite corner. Just speaking to Sam Jones, he said this was an easy fight to make. It was a 20-minute phone call. In terms of it being different to how Josh Taylor was, and that was a long, arduous process. Talking about the process of getting Prograis in the opposite corner.
Yeah, of course, I love that. I think it's a sign that when two fighters agree to stuff quickly, it means that both fighters want the fight in equal amounts. It's not all about the money, and there could have been more lucrative fights out there for Jack in terms of what he would get out of it, because obviously Regis doesn't come cheap. But he was adamant that he wanted the best challenge out there for him. He didn't want a marking time fight because he couldn't get a world title shot. He could have been forgiven for taking an easier fight, but he's not done. He wanted to challenge himself, and I think it's not. I don't want people to think that we're overlooking Prograis. It's not that at all. It's the fact that we've got so much confidence in Jack Catterall.
Just picking up on something that Sam said, and it was quite a surprise actually, because Josh Taylor in the build-up to both fights said that Jack would never win the world title, and coming from Sam, he said that Regis said that Catterall isn't world level. That's two fighters who've been there and done that are now saying that Jack Catterall won't get there. Why do you feel that they come with that?
Well, listen, the proof's in the pudding. These fighters have been. Josh Taylor and Regis Prograis have both been boxing at world level for a number of years. Jack's just beat Josh, and many people believe, and right as I do, that he beat him twice. One of them was 2.5 years ago. So I believe, I've always had belief in Jack Catterall. I've always known that he was capable of fighting at this level, and the proof will be in the pudding after the 24th of August as well. Regis is a phenomenal fighter, and styles make fights, and I think that this style is a great style for Jack.
What version do you think you'll be getting of Regis Prograis off the back of the Hayne defeat? I think before that you got the victory over Zamarilla, it was, but what version do you think you'll be getting of Prograis?
I don't think you can sort of make any comparisons in style-wise to Haney and Jack. So you can't really judge or anticipate he's going to perform in the same sort of ways he did against Haney. Haney's a proven guy at the weight and fighting at that level for a number of years. So the questions really are, what does Prograis have left? Was Haney's performance outstanding, or did it flatter him? And the fact of the matter is, Prograis a proven ex-world champion, and we could be getting him maybe at the worst time, because it could be his last chance saloon. So desperate fighters are always difficult to overcome. But we can't worry about that. All we do is we have confidence in Jack's ability, because he's in the form of his career, and I still believe he's getting better. I think the lessons what he's going to take on board from the rematch with Josh Taylor, the way to navigate those 12 rounds in a difficult fight, knowing when to go, when to hold off, are going to stand him in such good stead for this fight. So yeah, I think he's still improving, and I think the best is yet to come.
What a moment as well to be headlining at this arena for the first boxing promoted show at the Co-op Live. I was just asking Sam as well, but you'll know better than I guess Sam will. Jack never comes across as a nervous type of character. You can never really read him, I guess, as well as an interviewer. But I wonder, when was the last time he had nerves for a fight?
I've never known him to have nerves. He's cold as ice. He really is. And, there's some fighters, it's just like they thrive off it. He actually sort of loves these types of occasions. And for him to be able to top the bill in such an arena, in not his hometown as such, but as close as it can be to a big city, it's such an occasion for us all. We're all part of it, and I just think that Regis Prograis against Jack Catterall at this point in his career on an occasion like this is all wrong for Regis. This is all about Jack setting himself up into making himself into that position where he can fight for the world title, and rightly so, he's earned it. You know, the last 2.5 years have been really tough for him.
Tough 2.5 years, but I wonder, would this be the start of the headlining of the big shows, the arenas in Manchester? It's not just a one and done thing, not just a thing where you set up in the UK and then you go off to America and win the world titles. You feel like Jack can have longevity here?
Yeah, I think, you know, obviously the rematch with Josh Taylor, because of the controversy for the first fight, was, you know, that's why it sold so well. But now we have to get Jack performing in arenas like this against the right opposition, and that's part of the reason why Prograis was the right opponent, because you can't come to an arena like this at the stage of Jack's career that he's at with the wrong opponent. You can't do it. You know, it takes two to tango, and Prograis been there. He's got history with British fighters, and we've got a job to do on a big stage, and like I say, Jack thrives off it.
Get your thoughts on a couple of things. First of all, keeping with the theme of yourself, Akab Fiaz and Kane Baker got pulled very late in the day on the Birmingham card. It's been now come out that there was some irregular betting activity, I believe it was, which caused the fight to be pulled from the promoter side. What can you say about that situation and it moving forward?
There's not a lot I can say about it because there's an inquiry going on, but what I will say is that, you know, I found out about it on the day of the fight, and I let the people know who needed to be let know involved, and we decided that the fight had to be pulled. There was no questions about it because there's no way I would be involved in anything like that, and until there's the inquiry's done and sort of the truth comes out in what actually happened, then I'll make some decisions moving forward on what we have to do. But there was no question that the fight was going to take place once I sort of got that information on board.
I'm unfamiliar with this process completely, but can you tell me is either fighter allowed to fight until this is done, so they can't?
I'm not quite sure, to be honest. I don't know what the situation is with Kane Baker, but from what I can gather, the boxing board have suspended everyone's licence pending an inquiry until they find out what's actually gone on and taken place. So I'm interested to know myself.
Fair enough. We'll move on. I just want to get your thoughts on a couple of things at the top of the tree. First of all, we've got AJ versus Dubois coming on very soon. I just wonder who you favour in that fight.
See, I really like the fight. I think Dubois has improved a hell of a lot over the last couple of years. You know, he's been in there with some quality operators, and win or lose, you always learn from them for type of fights. And he's a young heavyweight, you know, 26 is young for a heavyweight, and for him to have been in the type of fights he's been in, he's gonna have got better. I just feel like he's getting AJ all at the wrong time. I think AJ is probably in the form of his career, and he went through that period where he was so experienced, but he was a little bit sort of not gun shy, but hesitant a little bit when he was boxing, and he still had some good wins in there. And obviously he had the 2 Usyk losses, and it feels like, from what everyone was asking him from him, was like, you know, just let your hands go and just go in there and do what you can do. We know you can do. He's sort of gone back to that now, and he's got all the lessons on board. He's much more experienced, but it seems like he's gone back to the sort of the beginning of his career, and he's gone a little bit more gung-ho, and he's letting his hands go a bit more. And that's the exciting AJ we've all wanted to see for a long time. So I think Dubois is certainly going to be part of the heavyweight picture moving forward, but in this instance, I think it's just a little bit too soon for him, and I think he's getting AJ at the wrong time.
Have you ever had to work with a fighter who's had a family member so prominent in their corner? In this case, it would be Stan Dubois, his father in his corner, who's really willing him on, and Daniel seems to draw confidence from that. But have you ever had that experience where, you know, family members kind of been there so prominently?
I've not, to be honest. You know, I mean, obviously, a lot of people who I've coached have had close relationships with family members, and sometimes they've come to the gym and stuff, but I've never had anybody who's even been remotely close to sort of crossing that line of being involved in the coaching or in a corner or even in the changing rooms. So no, it's pretty unique. But I remember watching a video once, and he was sort of saying like there's a lot of success been shown in sort of father and son relationships. You know, Joe Calzaghe, for instance, is one of the greatest fighters ever. Tiafimo, Haney. You know, there's a lot of fighters around who work with the dads. So you know, over the years, I remember years and years ago, people talking about with Joe Calzaghe saying, "I'm not sure whether it's a good thing. You know, family's too close." And they maybe wrap you in cotton wool a little bit. I don't know. I think it's the opposite way. I think you're probably a little bit more harder on your own kids than you would be with anybody else. So and maybe that's the reason why they turn out a little bit special. So I think Dubois doing everything what he's doing right, and he's had a few setbacks, but he's learned from it and he's come back better, and fair play to him.
Some might see that as a distraction. I wonder what you made of the back and forth between Joshua and Carl Froch. Is that a distraction heading into the fights? Look, it's a bit of tongue-in-cheek and we all enjoy it, but Froch is backing himself, Joshua's backing himself. They never seem to... will they ever be on the same page?
Listen, I think both guys in their own mind will be right, and that's a lot of the time in life. These things happen, and you know, there's no right or wrong. There's one person's version, the other person's version, and the truth is somewhere in the middle, and that's what it'll be. I don't think you'll ever get, at this stage in AJ's career, something like that will never take his focus away from a fight. It's a little bit of a spat. It is what it is. The amount of attention he must get every single day of his life. You know, a little spat with Carl won't distract his attention away from this fight. No, certainly not at this stage of his career.
How do you feel about we've had Crown now undisputed heavyweight champion, but now because of the IBF way, and look, it has its own merits and it's got to be followed, but because of the IBF rules, that's had to be stripped or vacated in this case from Usyk, and now another champion is crowned. So we have two champions in the heavyweight division now. Do you recognise it that way? Well,
I just think that everybody recognises for what it is, and the IBF are doing themselves no favours, because in all honesty, if they had the sport in mind, then they would be wanting to be part of an undisputed champion and keep the belts together for the integrity of the sport. People are always going to fight for vacant titles if they can, because financially it's going to be more of an incentive for them. Plus, the prestige of being able to call yourself a world champion, even though, you know, as time goes on, people will forget about how the circumstances came around. And in 30 years' time, when he's showing his grandkids he's got a world title belt on his mantelpiece, it won't make a difference to anyone. But you know, I would love for us to get to the stage, and I've got a feeling as time progresses now, with sort of Turkey Al Sheikh involved and the way he's trying to navigate the sport and get everyone involved on the same page, we might get to the stage where we have one world champion. And what a day that'll be if we do get to that stage. I don't think it'll be sort of imminent, but hopefully over the next sort of 10 years we can start making progress. And people have spoke about for years the UFC type style sort of thing, and I tend to agree with it. I would love to be able to get to that stage where you have one world champion. Will it take away opportunities for fighters? It will, but by the way it looks for what Turkey Al Sheikh's doing, is fighters are still going to be financially rewarded for taking hard fights anyway. So the only implication will be you won't have numerous world champions, but you'll still have a lot of fighters who are earning good money for being involved in good fights, which is a good thing. So, you know, I feel like the sport's moving forward in the right direction. And, you know, when you've got Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren working together, you know the sport is moving in the right direction.
Well, hopefully that stage will be set. The stage is set for August 24th. Jack Catterall versus Regis Prograis. Leave the final word with you. What happens on that night?
Jack Catterall wins emphatically, and he shows everybody why he's the number one 140-pound fighter in the world. And hopefully by the end of the year, Eddie can get in that world title shot.
Jamie, pleasure. Thanks for being SecondsOut.